Now, let's look for a second at retirement loans. Never, never borrow against your 401k. How many of you know that your 401k will let you borrow against it? Raise your hand if you know that. Okay, good. Don't do it. Lots of magazine articles and these cheesy little money magazine type things give you bad advice on this. They say, oh, it's cheap money. I mean, you got a credit card at 18%. If I borrow against my 401k, I'm doing that at like 5 or 6 or 7%. And besides that, I'm paying myself the interest. And that's how these articles tell you to do it. Well, all of that's true. It is 5 or 6 or 7%, and you are paying yourself the interest. But what these idiots didn't take into consideration was that when you start, the amount that you loan yourself is unplugged from the investment. So instead of making 12 or 14 or 15% on a decent growth stock mutual fund, you're making 5 or 6% from yourself. Well, that's dumb thing number one. That's why you never borrow on a 401k. But the biggest reason is this. When you leave your company, and you will leave your company, you will leave your company to get a better job because they lay you off or because you die. You will leave your company. When you leave your company, the 401k loan is due in full right then. If you do not pay that loan off within 60 days, and this is a really good time to be paying a loan off when you're dead or broke because you got laid off. If you don't pay the loan off within 60 days, that's considered by the IRS an early withdrawal, and they're going to hit you with your tax rate of about 40% or 30%, and they're going to hit you with another 10% in penalties. So about half of that loan is going to be a big tax bill right in the middle of your layoff, or right after your husband dies, or whatever. That's what you're going to be facing if it was your husband's 401k. So these are the kinds of reasons you do not do this. I run into more messes with this, and everybody thinks it's a good way to get a debt consolidation loan is to borrow it from yourself. Dumb idea. You unplug a good investment, and you set yourself up for a huge tax bill. And it just seems that that's how that stuff always works. It all comes in bad times. If you're a federal government employee or you're in the military, you have the thrift plan, the federal thrift plan available to you. There are several types of things you can put money in, several different letters they have. There are 3 of them that I like. My suggestion is, if you have the thrift plan available to you, that you put 60% in the C fund. The C fund is a common stock fund. It works about like an S&P index fund, a growth stock mutual fund. So this is a good, solid mutual fund. It's averaging between 8 and 12%, somewhere in there. A good idea. I recommend that you put 20% in the S fund. The S fund is small companies, aggressive growth stock mutual fund type of a emerging markets type of a fund. Again, this thing has averaged right around 9% lately. The I fund, I put 20% in. The I is the international fund. Now, our suggestion is baby step 1 is $1,000 in the bank. Baby step 2 is the debt snowball. Baby step 3 is a fully funded emergency fund. Then we get to baby step 4, and baby step 4 is 15% of your income going into retirement under all these different things we've been talking about. So it's kind of dizzy right now. Are you dizzy? I know this stuff, and teaching it I'm a little dizzy right now. It's just I feel like I'm chasing my tail up here. There's enough numbers and letters and stuff. It's a barrel of fish hooks. So let's just boil this thing down a little bit and figure out what we're going to do. Very, very, very carefully. If you make $100,000 a year, what's 15% of your income? $15,000. And so half of that, if I made $50,000 a year, my 15% would be $7,500. Does that sound right? So kind of get that types of figures in your head with your whole household income. And I want to put 15% in. Now, the first place I would put 15% is in my 401k at my company or my 403b at my company if there's a match up to the match. How many of you have a match at your work? Good. The rest of you, forget I said that. Well, you're going to just move on to step 2 in a minute. But those of you that had a match, raise your hand again. Yell out to me what some of the matches are. 3%, 6%, 4%, 6%. There you go. 4.5%. Okay. I'm hearing lots of 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s, that kind of thing. Lots and lots of companies. By the way, about 75%, 76% of the companies do some kind of a match. The most popular match is about 3%. That's a pretty standard thing. That's what we do at our company right now. We do a 3% match with people in our 401k. So the 3% match would work like this then. The first 3% that you put in, if you put in $1,000 into the 401k, your company adds $1,000 before anything happens. That's a good rate of return. You just made 100% on your money before we started. That works, doesn't it? Say yes. Yes. Okay, so you always take the match. So if you've got a 3% match, let's say you make $100,000 a year, so this is real simple. 3% would be $3,000. But we're trying to get to 15, right? But we're certainly going to do that 3 because that 3 is really good with a 100% rate of return. Then we're going to move to the next step. And the next step is you do the Roth IRA. Now, without the phone ringing back there and the government changing the laws, currently you can do a Roth IRA if you make under $150,000 a year, married filing jointly. Right in that range, okay? So if you make under that, then you're qualified for a Roth IRA. If you make under $150,000 a year, married filing jointly. So you would do a Roth IRA in our example because this is a $100,000 household income. Now we said in our example in the year 2008 that $5,000 you can do in a Roth IRA, right? Okay, and we're not going to let the phone ring right now. We're just going to go with that as our example. So if this is a couple and they're married, they could do 5 each, couldn't they? Say yes. Yes. That would be 10, wouldn't it? So I've already put in how much? 3 in the 401k. Now I'm at 10. That's 13. I've still not gotten up to baby step 4, which is 15% of my income. You see how I'm doing this? I'm working my way up, wisdom upon wisdom upon wisdom. So now I've got match and I got tax-free. Well, all you got left now is go back to your 401k and put in another $2,000. So you got $3,000 going in matched, and you got $2,000 non-matched, and then you got your Roths working. That got me to 15%. If you were the $50,000 income, we'd be dealing with $7,500 as our target, and we at 3% would be $1,500, means I need to do $6,000, right? So I could do 10 in Roths, but we're not doing 20%. We're only doing 15%. So 7,500 is the goal. I'm going to do 1,500 matching at my company. I'm going to do 6 in Roths, and I'm going to stop. That's all I'm going to do for right now. We'll come back later and do more in Roths, come back later and do more in 401ks. But you stop there. So we're going to do matching, Roths, non-matching, until we get to 15%. Wherever along there you get to 15% of your household income, stop. Don't save 28% of your income because we got some other stuff to do with this in these other baby steps for a little while. When we get some stuff cleaned up, we'll come back and load up everything. So for now, though, I'm going to give you a good healthy start with some muscle at 15%.